Hello Tiger fans, welcome back to the show. On today's show we're going to talk about the Richmond versus St Kilda game. Didn't go our way, but let's just talk that it was a tale of two halves. So we'll get started with that. We'll start with the first half, which was really good. It was very similar to the second half against Port Adelaide and probably the half of the second quarter and most of the third and fourth against Carlton. So it's good signs to see that we can play two good quarters, which is what you want to see as a young team, showing that we are actually getting somewhere with how we play style as well. So there's positives and there's negatives to take out of the game from the weekend. But talk about the positives, which was good. Luke Traynor was probably another good positive coming out of this week's game. I think he had something like 18 disposals, 6 marks, and he is coming. I think him and Tom Brown are going to be the really good duo. Maybe the Dylan Grimes and Dave Asprey, or the Nick Flostone and Bashir Hooley for the next couple of years. Both really good at kicking, and both actually have really good overhead marking skills. So probably those two are really good in the defender. Ben Miller, I think he did what he had to do with the best of what he could do. You can't do much when the ball's constantly coming in there. So I think he's doing well for what he has to do with. I think it hurt him a bit when the Blight went forward or into the ruck to play. So it's a good learning curve, but I think that we are on the right path. I just think that now we can prove that we can play two good quarters through the whole entire game. Now we just need to break that into, let's get into three good quarters. Work your way until you're never going to play 4 perfect quarters. It doesn't happen very often. It's very hard. Even you look at the teams now that are playing. Geelong starts off really fast and then they die off. Brisbane did it as well on the weekend. They started really slow and then they played the last 2 good quarters and came back into the game. So we're just going to have to work out a balance to keep from those first 2 good quarters and start getting them to stay consistent through the third and fourth quarter as well. So we don't be going from after halftime down by 8 points and then losing by 82. Yeah, that wasn't what you want to see after having 2 promising good quarters. So, and then the other positive came out, it was Seth Campbell, the backflip man, the jet. I'm starting to think that maybe Seth Campbell might be a steal. I can't remember what pick he was at, but I don't believe he was a first round pick. So I think he's going to be probably like another Shea Bolton maybe, or Rioli, or Jason Castagna. Really looking forward to seeing and his developing, how he's going, because he could have kicked 4, and I think he's sitting 7th in the Coleman medals as a small forward. So if that 4th goal had counted, he'd be tied 3rd. Well, he was 3rd at the time when I last checked. So it's really promising considering how well he's played, and the forward isn't giving much. So the midfield isn't really putting too much into the forward line and good kicking. So he's doing really well with what he's got. Very good below his knees. So that pick up off the ground from Tom Lynch and just scooped it up one hand and snapped it 35 to 40 metres out and cleared it. So it's a real positive sign there with Seth Campbell really coming into it. So, and then the second half really just kind of put a damper on the mood where you thought, okay, we've had 2 good quarters. Now can we carry it on? Like, are we going to be able to? And, with reality, we are a very young side. Richmond isn't going to kind of stick with them for 4 quarters the whole entire game. I don't think we're going to do that. We might have a couple of games here and there where, as a club, we will have those maybe 3 or 4 good quarters, and it's enough for us to win a game or 2 here and there. But it was a really big drop off how we went from, we made it really tough for them to get it in, and then it just felt like it was just automatic for them to get him in there. I felt like a little bit lazy in the defence, or we weren't manning up a little bit. It seemed like the dam wall had broken, that the midfield just couldn't keep up with them. So, and that's another one that we need to discuss as well. We need to fix that. To me, it's starting to become a really big issue for the Tigers. We don't seem to be able to win. Nate Curvis, another really good game, but I'm pretty sure he had plus 20 hitouts on St Kilda, on Rowan Marshall, and we still didn't win the centres. Somehow, when we're winning the taps, it's a sign to me that as a club we're very concrete footed, as some of the other people around in the AFL are saying that we're just too slow in the midfield. I don't see how we're going to get better unless we decide to start playing some more younger players in the midfield, because when Dion Prestia comes back, it's going to be Hopper, Jack Ross, Tim Taranto and Dion Prestia, and they're all slow. Now, they're all great in their own right. They're all good at really good things, but we can't do that. It's just going to get chewed up at the second. We're going to lose by 80 points every single week. Now, that may happen either way, but we're going to have to try and do something different because we can't have that forever. So, that midfield part leads me on to my third point of the slow in the mid. It's not sustainable for that. So I think as a club that I don't want to say to drop certain players, but I think we're going to need to make a change. I think that Hopper, he's playing really good in the midfield after having 2 really bad years. He's actually starting to show that what he was at the Giants is what he is now. So, and Tim Taranto, yeah, he had 8 tackles, but it's just too often where you watch the game where he just jogs and you don't see him putting the extra burn in that you will see with Hopper and Jack Ross. Those boys are all pretty slow, but we're not seeing the want from Tim Taranto. So I have a bit of a suggestion. Do we do what the Giants were doing with Tim Taranto when he was there? Do we also play him in the half forward line? And maybe Jacob Hopper as well. And maybe do you change with those two? So that opens up a free spot for someone to play in the midfield. If you've got Jacob Hopper playing in the forward, and you've got Tim Taranto in the middle. And those two just swap and change. They can do it themselves. They're senior players. They're leaders in our club. And you let them make the changes. Do we then bring in, say, Sam Lawler to swap with Jack Ross? Have a sort of a rotation going with players so that it's not always the same players. And when something works, don't change it. Like McIntosh in the middle. Very fast. And he seemed to be a very good tagger. Don't know why we went away from that after half time. Even the commentators were saying, why do we stop the tagging? Because it was working. And then look at Sinclair. I think he had his best game probably of all time for St Kilda. So I think that's something we need to work on with the speed. Maybe we do Seth Campbell. Now, Ryan Mansell was suspended for 3 weeks, so we're not going to have him probably in there for speed. But do we need to do a Steely Green? Do we get Morris Early Jr. back in this week? Or maybe Jasper Alga and put them in the middle for some speed? So let me know what you guys think about the slow midfield and the first and second half. I hope you guys enjoyed my video because I am trying to get better at my podcasting. But I want to say thank you all for people who are watching. And if you please could, subscribe and like and leave a comment. It really helps me out. Thank you, and I'll see you guys next time.